Whew, okay, so while I've been sitting over there, I've been focusing on, I just said to myself a second ago, Abraham, I really want to play with you, and then you called on me.
Yeah, well, there you were. So consider this for just a moment, because this is a really good opportunity to understand something that we've been talking about. So we knew what we were reaching for. We could feel it active in the vibration. We always do. And we knew where it is and there we're going. But then there was interference in it for just a little bit. And it doesn't mean that you're not all lovely and wonderful. It just means that appropriate to this moment in time, nothing except this was what we were reaching for. And so then did you see how it came about? And it was hard to sort out because there was too much other going on. Did you sort of get a sense of that? That's what goes on in your own head. You have more going on that is contradicting what you want, and sort of hard to isolate the thought that feels the best. But that is always your work, to identify and then isolate until it becomes more, and then it is unavoidable. Then you just can't miss it. It's like an inevitable thing. Oh, we've used up all your time.
So earlier I got a little more clarity, and that's kind of what gave me the question, or helped me find the question. I have many desires, and I'm working on not trying to plan them all out because I know we never get it done. And so I have a desire.
It's also a nice idea to think about your ideas playing nice with each other. The cooperative components of the variety of ideas will make them all give strength to all of them. An idea that is easier for you will give strength to an idea that isn't easy for you. The end of the stick analogy that we're talking about. Yes. Do you think you have to choose among your desires, or could you just pick anything that's easy and let that energy that is surrounding that desire feed the others and make them bigger until you can see them all?
Yes. And that is what I'm hoping for more clarity from you on, is I feel that when I get too focused on one desire for, let's say, modeling or acting or wanting to just be a light to people in a big way, and I feel that being a performer will help me to do that for lots of people in a way that feels good to me.
The thing about that is, this is a really good conversation, because the thing about that is, you want to be an uplifter, and you've chosen an avenue which puts you in the public eye, which is just wonderful. But in doing so, now you're aware of their response to you, which is where it goes wonky. You have to leave their response to you out of it and only do it for your response to your own desire. So you have to continue to activate and keep active your knowing that you are an uplifter, and you have to give no attention to whether you are uplifting anyone or not, because that's on them. Do you know? There are those who will not be uplifted. If you've got your eye on whether they're being uplifted or not, then you lose your connection, and then you feel bad. So this has to be a singular intent only. I do it. Why? Why do I do it?
To be in alignment, to feel good, to feel great, to feel joy, just to be.
And is there another ulterior motive?
There shouldn't be, no.
But is there? I want to feel good, and I want to be in alignment so that I can uplift them.
Yeah, because then that makes me feel good. Yeah.
Because now their response to you is part of the equation, and that's where it always gets muddled. It was muddled just now. You were after us, and we were after you. But there was a whole lot of other stuff going on around it, and it's sort of like that.
And I draw people like that to me. I feel like because I do want to help everyone, I do bring people into my life that are suckers of energy, I guess, like drainers of energy, and I care so much and I want to help everybody that I give them my attention.
So stop for just a moment. Imagine your inner being, or imagine a cluster of inner beings which you want to call source. Try to get a visual on source aware of all of you. And do you think source is ever saying, look at all those suckers of energy?
No, absolutely not, no.
And you know why source would never feel that way or think that way? Because source remains in the replenishing mode. And so there's never any drag, there's never any drain. And not so with you either. So that wasn't our intent to point out to you that there is a drain. We just want you to feel the never-ending replenishment that is always yours.
And I can always tell when I'm out of alignment because I feel exhausted. When I've given too much out of the vortex.
Exhausted is the opposite of replenishment, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And so I think more specifically, my question to you is, when I focus too specifically on a desire, I get all in my head about planning it out.
Wait just a bit. Because we really want you to hear this. You cannot focus too specifically when you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on. But you can focus too specifically when you're not.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I believe I'm trying to focus too specifically to get me to realize what I want more, where to go.
How can you tell? So you're tuned in, ideas start to come, you're flowing with them, and it's good until it isn't. So when it stops feeling good, does that mean that the work that you did before is irrelevant, or does it just mean leave it there for now? That's what we call don't try so hard, don't try to make it happen, don't try to push the noodle. So
I guess, because there are moments when I feel I'm so flying high and it's amazing, and I might not even be focusing specifically on anything, playing with my daughter or my dog, that is so adorable.
Usually not focused specifically, because everything you focus on, you're working hard.
Yeah, and I think that's what I want clarities on, is like when I get too wound up and I'm too focused, like it's too in my face.
And what does that feel like? Give us emotional words that describe that.
Anxious all over the place.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you've let it get to anxiety, then there's nothing for you to do in the moment, because everything you try to do to get rid of anxiety will cause more anxiety. That's why we say, let's get out ahead of it. Don't fall in the hole and then try to climb out. Stay away from the hole. That's what we mean by getting out ahead of it. Be nicer to yourself. Give yourself more time. Do the things that soothe you most. Don't get depleted and then try to fix it. Do the things that encourage the opposite of depletion, which is renewal and replenishment. Find a time to meditate and do more basking and get off to yourself and let yourself daydream. Segment intend. Segment intent is getting out ahead of it. I just got in my vehicle. It's a new segment. What do I intend for this segment? I intend to have a wonderful transfer from one place to another. Because if you're out ahead of it, more momentum can happen. But if you've caught yourself in resistance and you try to fix it, the momentum follows the resistance rather than the allowing. Does that make sense to you? Whatever's most active within you, that's the direction that it's going to go. A while back, and Esther demonstrated it for friends the other day, we encouraged Esther to take a piece of paper and in one corner write something that was representative of good things she wants, and in the other corner of the paper we asked her to put a symbol that was evidence or an indicator of things unwanted. And then we asked her to make herself a dot right in the middle of the bottom of the paper, and then we asked her to just begin daydreaming. And so she thought a thought that was in harmony with all the good things she wants. We just began drawing a little line from where she was in that direction, and as she thought more, then more, and as she thought more, then more. But eventually, and quicker than she would want to admit, but it was perfect and fine, she got somewhere where she thought a thought that started to go off this way. In other words, it was a action thought, a what I need to do thought, or an old belief thought. But because she had some momentum already going that way, in the moment that she started to go that way, she caught it and then thought a better thought about that, and off she went again. And then another thought sort of tried to take her over there, but she caught it and thought a better thought, and off she went. Now this is another way. In other words, you can, if you're in a good feeling place and you are sensitive to the way you feel, you can think the thoughts deliberately. So for most people it would go, there is wanted and there is not wanted. It would go and then you just want to kill yourself because you're working really hard at trying to control your thoughts, which is fine. We know you like achievement. Or you could meditate and get tuned in, which would lead you to blissful thoughts, and then you could receive an idea that just feels really good, and for a moment in time you could be right there. But what trips you up is you don't want to just be there in energy or in emotion. You want the manifestation, and in the moment that you begin the efforting, that's when you begin moving in the other direction. If we could convince you that everything you want is because you want to feel good in the having of it, then if you could let the feeling good be the singular intention that you have, not uplifting the world, not fixing things that are broken, not making the world a better place, but just having a really good time being the bright light that you are. Yeah.
And I think that's, yes, I think that's exactly what I was hoping to get, because I feel like when I get too focused on, okay, I got to decide to be this or decide to be that, rather than just, I can just decide to be right now.
But you know what?
And then all that will happen.
Sometimes that thought about being that came directly from your vortex. We're not for a moment asking you to discard those thoughts. It's wonderful to get an idea about what you want to do. Someone sat in this chair a little bit ago and just said, I want my bells to ring. That's a lovely thing. That's all you're asking for. So we're not suggesting for a moment that when those thoughts come, that you shouldn't pursue those thoughts. Satisfaction comes from one place and one place only: having an idea of what you want and moving in the direction of it. All we're asking you to be more aware of is when you are being a dream killer to your own dream. That's all. Don't be practical about your dreams, because when you're practical about them, you try to put pieces in that you don't have yet. You are practical. You are humans. And it's the thing that Esther is most focused upon not focusing upon these days. It's the thing that she's most focused upon not focusing upon. She wants to jump into action too soon, because the dream doesn't feel like it's enough, but it is. The dream is enough. And if you can dream it and it's enough, and dream it and it's enough, and dream it and it's enough, and dream it, it's enough, it will demand things of you that you can't not give it, but they will be things that are in harmony with the dream. The impulse will be so strong that nothing could keep you from following that. And that's the difference between receiving the thought and trying to think it into place. Did you get that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Really good. Really good.